Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Ryan, and we are back with more Unreal World today, continuing our Caveman series. This is episode number 2. If you're just tuning in or you need to get caught up, I've got a link to this playlist down in the description, as well as the many other Unreal World series I've done in the past. So check that out, guys. Also, hit that like button as we go in. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content. And in the first episode, we did really well. We initially came across a big elk in the open, but it disappeared into the forest. Unfortunately, it got away, but we came across a second elk that we were able to down. So we are jumping right back into it, guys, and we're about to skin and butcher this animal. So let's do it. And we join the main character, Week, the Sartolanian. Here he is at his little shelter. As I mentioned, he's got an elk just under his feet there. Oh, yes. Now, he's named Weak because his physical profile, when I created him, I was not worried about strength, endurance, anything like that. All I cared about was speed. Now, we did get a maximum speed on him, which is good. Turns out the first guy who got max speed was also fairly good with endurance, and he's not that weak, actually, but who cares? That is his name. It's a family name. You know how it goes. He's not the smartest guy, so he's also not that great at building. In fact, we are not going to be building a cabin at all in this series. No, he will only live in shelters, and eventually, once we find one, a nice warm cave. And I know it doesn't sound particularly great, but trust me, we can turn a cave into a nice little home in this game. So far I haven't found... Oh, wait. Look, I just noticed there is a cave just to the north of us. How did I miss that in the first one? Oh, the gods have smiled on us. I think I know how, because I was probably zoomed in maximum like this when all I had to do was scroll a little bit to the north. So that's good news for us. But first things first, guys, we've got this massive elk here at our feet. So we've got to skin it, butcher it, and in fact, we need to cook some of it up right away because our boy Weak is starving to death. So we're going to get him fed. First things first, let's go ahead and just make sure he's completely rested. Okay, good. Now we will skin this animal. Although my character is tired, maybe it's best if we go ahead and sleep. Okay, there we go. A little bit later now in the afternoon. Wasn't easy to sleep because when you're starving, you have to force them to go to bed and they keep waking up hungry. But that's a problem of our past right now. So we're going to go through, since this was our first kill, we'll go through the whole process here of skinning it. Beautiful. What did we end up with? A winter elk skin. Okay, good. I was hoping it wouldn't turn out rough, although there's still the possibility that we could screw up one of the steps and we could make it rough. But that's okay. Even if that happens, we can still use it. Now, normally I would probably go right into preparing the skin, I should say, but we do need to cook some stuff up. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of a fire prepared. Oh, wait, I don't want to push the animal. Hold on. We need to knock down some branches. I thought I had some, but we don't. All right, let's push. We'll just do the whole pile right there. Okay. Oh, crap, and I pushed the animal too. Hold on, let's redo that. We'll push our carcass back. Okay, very good. We're getting it situated. Okay, so now I'm going to butcher just a small amount of this. Okay, and we will take a break. Boom. We did get 47 edible cuts off that. Very, very good. So now we're going to briefly start the fire. Hopefully it'll only take a couple of tries. There we go. It's not a big one, but it doesn't need to be. Since we're in our shelter, we'll stay warm with this small fire, and it'll give me just enough to cook up a couple of batches of elk. All right, let's do 2 10 stacks. I don't want to do too much just because it will eventually go bad in a roasted form. I mean, all food will go bad no matter if you smoke it or dry it, but drying it will preserve it for the longest. But anyway, we can go ahead and probably continue to butcher a little bit of this. Okay, just want to watch. And it says it smells like the roasted elk is ready. So yes, we're going to take a break. Obviously, it didn't take very long, just a few seconds. Boom, there we go. So there's 20 cuts of roasted elk. Let's go ahead and have our first meal of the game, our first real meal of the series, believe it or not. All right, we're going to scarf that down. Beautiful. And that reminds me too, while we're doing that, we should sacrifice some of the raw stuff. Beautiful, we'll put that down. Don't want to try and do it too much, but one piece is enough for the gods. Unfortunately, I had to leave the safety and warmth of our little shelter there, but I did bring the meat with me, no worries. Now, the reason we have come to this forest is because I need this right here, these tiny little trees. They are in fact saplings, and it doesn't take long, just a couple of minutes to pull one of them up. But now I should be able to turn that into a withy, a spruce withy right there. And if you're unfamiliar with what that is, it's a primitive cordage. It's a primitive form of cordage, I should say. You're basically taking the sapling and just twisting it into a rough cord. Now we're going to use that for one specific thing, and that is preserving our newest kill. So I'm going to grab a bunch of these, and when we get back there, hopefully that raw meat hasn't started to go bad yet. Alright, it didn't do too bad out there in the forest, and of course we made it back here safely. Now we have an option, of course. Do we focus on the meat, preserving that? And here's the amount of cordage I got, by the way, 24 spruce with these 4-foot sections. So that might be enough to do the whole animal, we'll see. But the second option is to focus on the skin. Here, we need to at least clean this and start the process. So I think we're going to do the skin first, and while that's going through the stages, we can be drying the meat at the same time. But luckily it's pretty cold outside, so this stuff should stay relatively good. And yes, I did check the meat too. It's right here in the shelter. It still hasn't gone stale yet. It's not rotten. It will always say it's stale before going rotten, so we've got some time left here. But like I said, let's go ahead and go through this together. Since it's our first big kill, we're going to clean the skin. No matter what you want to do, whether you want to turn it into leather, preserve it, you have to clean it first. Alright, let's do that. It takes a while, and the elk fur is one of the biggest in the game, no doubt about it. And there we go. Now we're going to eat in between these stages here. Okay, good. We do want to take a drink. Let's just check on the meat. Oops. Okay, it's still fine. Now, the next step is to tan it. Oh, you know what? I didn't get any of the fat. The big carcass actually went rotten before I was able to fully butcher it. Oh, darn it. Well, you know what that means? I think I'm going to tan it and then preserve it. So we're going to dehair it, which takes a long time, and then we'll have to preserve that because we don't have any fat to do the tanning process, and it's too cold to actually peel bark off of trees right now. Trust me, I already tried. So that's unfortunate, but again, it's just part of the process. Since that animal was so big, I had to get the shelter built first. We ended up losing a part of it, but okay, so we can go ahead and tan first we want to dehair it. There we go. And as long as we have water nearby, which we do, we got plenty of that. Boom, there we go. So it should take 13 days just to dehair it. And after that, we can preserve it as leather, which will be handy once the spring comes around and we can get bark, because then we can do a whole bunch of crafting with leather, including making a whole suit of leather clothing. And there we go. I have finished drying all the meat. Well, I should say I finished the first step of the process. Now, of course, we just have to wait until it's complete, but it will take 24 days. So that does mean, of course, that once this meat is gone here in my pocket, that's all we'll have. And because I botched the tanning process, I didn't get a full fur. We got to wait for leather. That means I won't be able to make any good clothing, including mittens too, which is very, very important. We don't have anything on our hands, so frostbite will set in very quick if we're not careful. But really what that means is we need to wait for the brightest part of the day, in other words noon, and then try and head out and do some more hunting of big game, preferably. Well, I have not had a lot of luck searching for big game in the surrounding area, but I did fortunately come across a badger, which we are currently chasing. I just came across him, and he's already slightly fatigued, so that's good. Sometimes these small game can be more difficult to chase down than big elk like that, but Just depends on the animal. Although this guy, we can pretty much keep up with him. Look at that. Oh, see the change in elevation? I mentioned this in the first episode. Whenever you see those little hills crop up, that usually means there's going to be a forest just behind there. Dang it. Let's look at him. He's already very fatigued. That's wild. The badger's easy to catch. I might actually be able to get him before he gets to the tree line. You guys see him? He's very hard to see in the snow. He's got good camouflage, but he's breathless now, I can tell. Yep, he just lost a step. So I'm going to keep sprinting, even though I could probably keep up pace with him just by walking, but I need to get right up to him in melee so we can knock him out before he disappears into the dark forest. There we go. All right, so we've got him in melee. Let's go ahead and broad knife, blunt to the legs. Take him down. Same strategy as with the elk in the first one. Of course, this time around, it might be easier to take him down. Then again, maybe not. Okay, he's unconscious. There we go. So we'll do blunt to the skull. There it is. All right, we've got ourselves a badger kill. Let's pick him up, and he's 21 pounds. Beautiful. Obviously, he's small enough for me to actually carry around, so we're going to take him right back to the shelter, though. As I mentioned, oh shoot, where is it? It's to the south of me. Almost forgot. There it is, right there. Yeah, I've been trying to stick real close to it just because it's very cold. But even though it's a pretty small animal, I bet you this badger fur is going to make a big difference. Take a look at that. Right down here in the dialogue box, it says your hand feels cold. It's been happening quite a bit, actually. That's why I have to stick close to the shelter, or at least keep some branches in my pocket for a quick fire when we're traveling. But you can also see I just finished the winter badger fur. Now, unfortunately, this one did turn out to be harsh, but it's 1.6 pounds, and I think, I might be wrong, but that is enough to make a pair of mittens. Oops, that's not what we want. Since I have the mods installed, you can see there's much more extensive crafting. If you're only used to playing vanilla, you'll notice that probably right away. A lot more options. So it's a pretty great mod pack too. It's a bunch of different mods all assembled into one. But anyway, let's see. So we want... It's called Armor of Leather and Fur. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, this is actually the vanilla menu too, one of them. All right, so we want fur mittens, and it says 1.2 pounds of fur. Oh, no. So we do have the fur, but see that right there? It says 3 foot of thin cordage. No. You know what that means? We can't make the mittens yet. Not until we go trade for some. Boy, because I don't have enough to make some out of the fur and still have it left over to make the mittens. So the best place to go is to like the nearest settlement, which unfortunately we haven't discovered yet. And even though it seems like it's pretty close here on the world map, with no furs on our backs, this is a tough trek here in the cold. But honestly, now is the best time to make it. Well, I should say late fall, early winter would be our best time to go pick up some of that thin cordage from one of the settlements. I did have to stop twice and build fires, but I made it all the way over here to the Kukuya tribe. I can never say that. The Koika tribe, I guess. Either way, the Greys over here. That's what we'll call them. But I have not uncovered one of their settlements yet, but we are officially in their cultural boundaries. It's very dark. It's late evening. I was kind of pushing myself. You know what? We're chilly. I do need to stop and build another fire, but I was hoping maybe we can find one of these settlements. Darn it. It's cold. That's okay. We've got a little open territory here. Oh, check it out. I spotted a log too. This is good. Makes starting a fire so much easier instead of having to cut down one of the small saplings, because I don't have an axe, so I can't cut down a full tree. But we've got a log here. I did bring some branches with me, so I just drop a handful of those, and boom, we've got a big raging fire going here. So I'm going to go ahead and eat the last piece of roasted elk, and we will sleep at this location. Oh, nice. We got a full night's rest with no rain or snow coming down. I see a little water to the south, So let's go ahead and move in. Now, unfortunately, there is, like I said, no more meat left. The only meat we have is still being prepared back at our shelter. Of course, if we take a look, zoom out, there it is back there, the little blue X, that's our shelter. And the skin is over there too, but I think we're safe to exit. Yep. All right, so let's continue to search for one of these villages. All right, there we go. We have located one just to the south. So let's hit this first one up. All right, we dust off the needles from our shoulders and come forward amongst the people. Here we go. Now, these northerly tribes like this, they usually live in tents. So we've got to kind of come in. I'll zoom in here for you guys. Ball of birch bark strip, not what we're looking for. Although that actually might work for, what's it called, the skin, the leather we've got back there. Possibly. We'll have to see. Okay, winter fur, a net. So far, that's not what we want. I'm looking specifically for thread. I'm hoping they have it. There it is, nettle yarn. That's perfect. That'll work. 150 feet. They also have a short bow and 10 arrows, so that's good. Okay, so this is perfect. What else do they got? A whole bunch of arrows. Wow. They got a ton of arrows. And they got a few furs and stuff. Some random assortment of meat, obviously. Let's go check this tent over here, too. Oh, look, they do have a little cottage up top. Trident, a northern knife. A fine one, too. Okay, well, this place definitely has what we need and more. So what I'm going to do, unfortunately, we don't have anything to actually trade with them, right? I've barely got just the fur here. That's it. And I'm not trading that away. We need that for our mittens. So the reason I came out here was we're going to find a spot nearby this cluster of settlements that's going to be good hunting ground. And we'll have to construct another small shelter. We'll probably start starving again, but we need to go out hunting. This time, I'm either going to trade him raw meat or we're just going to roast whatever we get and start to trade for some of the items we need. But setting up multiple shelters like this is a pretty good idea. You know, you're going to want to have some different hunting areas spread out so you don't overhunt a particular spot. But this right here is not really enough clear space, so I'm going to search around for a little bit before we set something up. Oh my god, guys. Well, I knew we would probably start starving again before our next big kill, but I didn't think it would take this long. The winter has fully set in. You can see the snow is now covering the ground completely. I haven't seen a single animal except for this squirrel. First time in days. I was starting to think I would have to go back to the other shelter and pick up that dried meat before we caught our next one, but we're definitely going to give this little guy a shot. It won't prevent me from starving, but what it will do is probably give me enough wealth to at least get that yarn. So this is an ideal spot to hunt squirrels. I'll tell you that, actually. Okay, he was in the tree for a second. What we wanted to do is get isolated in one of these trees. There. Okay, hopefully. Nope, damn it, he popped back out of it. If he gets in one of the trees that's all by itself, it's going to be super easy. Just takes time and a little bit of patience. All right, we've got him. So yeah, there are no other trees neighboring this one, so he can't jump. And if he wanted to get to this, he'd have to come down onto the ground, which he won't do when we're standing right next to him. So what I'm going to do, even though he's up in the tree, we can still access him. You see, I've got a rock already in my hand. I picked up one of these. Let's go ahead. I'm trying to do T here. Yeah, T to throw it. Let's aim. Nope, missed it. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw the knife, too, believe it or not. Let's try the knife. Scratches his foreleg. I actually hit him with that, so we'll pick that up. Let's try the knife again. Well, we hit the young pine. I'm going to keep going here. Not quite. And there we go. I had to move around and pick up my stone and my knife again, but I did manage to hit him with that rock. So now he's on the ground unconscious. I think he's unconscious. Let's go blunt to the skull. Yep. All right, we'll repeat that command a couple of times. Wait, this one's got a thick skull. Either that or we're just really bad at hitting him. All right, so now he is dead. Beautiful. So we've got ourselves a little squirrel. I also see, I'm going to grab this stick right there. That'll come in handy. Oh, there's a bird right behind us. I should be setting up some bird traps, no doubt about it, especially next to our shelter. Oh, I just encountered a bird too. Birds are near impossible to just hunt without any actual real bow and arrow or anything like that. So I'm not going after birds, but the squirrel is a huge benefit. Okay, the squirrel fur has been processed. As you can see, I made it back to one of the villages here. I picked up the yarn that we want to trade. I think for good luck, I'm going to sacrifice that squirrel cut because, as I mentioned, one little piece of squirrel is not going to help our starvation. So that helps us feel at ease. So let's trade here. I have no idea if this is going to work. Oh, look at this. There's some chores we can do. All right. That's actually good. Let's go ahead and just try the trade. I want to see offer items for payment. He might not even want this because unfortunately the squirrel fur turned out to be harsh. Oh, they accept it. It's a deal. Let's do it. I might have been able to get like a dried fish out of that too, but I'm just too happy and excited to get that. So that's actually a lot of cordage, believe it or not, but it's really too good just for processing food. So I'll continue to use those primitive saplings as cordage, but this we will save. We will use this for all different kinds of stuff that requires fine cordage, mainly clothing, but let's start with the mittens. There it is. Okay. Harsh winter badger fur mittens with our cordage, just what we need. And of course I'm doing it here inside the little tent so we stay nice and warm. Yes, very good, very good. So we obtained some. Let's put those on. They did turn out to be rough quality, but that's kind of expected considering what we had to start with. But there we go. We have done it. We've got ourselves a pair of mittens. Now we just have to prevent ourselves from starving to death. But at least we've got the frostbite in our hands covered, so that's good news. But you can see I've got little else. We got a small sliver of that fur left, but that's not worth trading. So I think what I will do is maybe hang around up in this area a little bit longer since we do have a shelter right here. The meat that's in this previous shelter has probably still got a week or so. So if we spend a little bit more time over here, we might get lucky and get another big kill. And like I say, continue to trade for more of the tools and necessities that we need here at these villages. But I think that'll do it for today's episode, guys. We'll come to a close and all those plans will be saved for the future. But I hope you guys are liking the series so far. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. Of course, hit that like button if you do enjoy them. Subscribe if you're new. And I am posting these to my Patreon early, so you guys can check that link out down in the description if you want to help support the channel. I really appreciate it. But all of you out there who just tune in, I appreciate you as well. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Hey everyone, I just want to give a personal thank you to my Patreon supporters. Their contributions help make my work possible and I am tremendously grateful to them. I'd also like to extend an invitation to you to help support my work on Patreon as well. Your donations allow me to upgrade my PC and avoid the dreaded hardware despair. It also gives me more time to devote to new projects and create longer content such as live streaming. No matter what you decide, thank you for visiting my channel.